So I'm going to provide some video feedback for your hypotheses on Lab 9 for your group. So I noticed that you have for hypothesis number, your three hypotheses. Number one is the more notifications that are present that within the study that will negatively affect the scores received on the quiz. So you'll have to be sure that I think when we talk about a quiz, we're going to have to, because there could be a lot of variables that impact a score on a quiz. And so I'm wondering if maybe it needs to be a really simple quiz that most people would do really well on, or something that's moderate. And I'm not sure what the literature says on that, but I think that's something you'll want to look at, because notifications may be one reason why they do well or not well, but there could be 100 other reasons. And so you'd want to really kind of tease that out, or make sure that you're kind of why can't I think, but controlling that variable. Having the notifications present during the experiment will increase the time it takes. I think that one will be really easy to assess for, because you can count the dings. And I don't know if this is going to be an in-person thing where you're going to have students come in and take a quiz. I think that this is a great idea for a study. It might be hard to get subjects, but this might be something where you just have a very few, a very low N. So if you're having them sit, and if you're going to have them all in one class at a time, if it's going to be during a time period, but you can definitely measure the time it takes. So you can just do a start and stop, I think, for that second hypothesis. And then the presence of active technology will negatively affect the attention. This one's a little bit more difficult in my opinion, because active technology, is this also number of notifications back to kind of those other two, or what does that mean exactly? So I'd want to tease that out. And then the attention, how are you measuring attention? So the number of times a student looks up from their test, the number of times that they sit and space off, or how long they space off. I guess we need to kind of think about how you're measuring attention span. And if you're going to have a group of people doing this all at once, or if this is going to be one person at a time coming in. And so I see that your evidence also then says it will affect the performance on a test. So I think performance, like how well they do, is different than their attention. And so then scores might be their performance, but I'd want you to really define performance. And maybe you need to just have a couple of hypotheses that are really easy to test, that are more similar, because you've got three that are kind of pretty different from one another. And so I'm just thinking that maybe we'd want to do that. You've got the idea of having a timed test, so you have those time constraints for that second hypothesis. I think that's good. And then your evidence for number three, looking at the attention span, different media stimuli. I do think that media affects attention span. We've got research on that, and you've got some of it here. I'm just wondering exactly how you want to test that in a hypothesis of your own. And so I'm wondering if maybe that one's just a little bit outside of the scope or your ability to do this study. I don't know. I want you to think this through, and we can talk about it some more in person when we set up that meeting for each of the lab groups. So hopefully you'll send a message to me, and we can nail down a time if we haven't already done that. All right. Well, hopefully this is helpful. We'll see you in class.